All right, yeah, we're good. Let's go. Testing, testing. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Horror Talk Live, episode number 2. I'm once again joined by Dale_A from the Bat and Spider podcast.
Brian,
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks for the invite back.
Well, thank you for joining me. I always appreciate it. And for this episode, I let Dale, as a guest, select what movie we're going to talk about tonight. And but we're going to talk about some other things before we get to that.
Horror Talk Live, episode number 2.
Sorry.
I'm once again joined
I once again goofed up and left my phone on, so I apologize. But like I was saying, I let Mr. Dale here pick the movie tonight. We're going to be discussing Maximum Overdrive from 1986. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about some other things before we get into the movie. And again, do me a favor. Go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and please subscribe to Bat and Spider podcast.
Please.
That is Dale and Chuck's podcast. They're awesome. They just dropped an episode yesterday on Thursday. And next week is their 150th episode, a big one. And they're going to discuss this movie right here, Tim Burton's Ed Wood. And if you've never seen this movie, I highly recommend it. It's an excellent movie, and I'm excited about that episode to hear you guys discuss this. So,
yeah, thank you. I'm excited to watch the movie. Ed Wood did a lot for basically no budget genre films, so it'll be cool to watch the biography that is, Oscar winning.
Yeah,
based on it.
Yeah, because Martin Landau won an Oscar for this movie, playing Bela Lugosi.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm excited for you to watch this because I know you've never seen it. I've seen it many times over the years, so I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are on that movie. It has a great cast. Johnny Depp playing Ed Wood, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Has a lot of Tim Burton-isms, but it's shot in black and white, which is a nice touch. But
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are.
Pretty excited for a big 150th episode.
I know, it's huge, man. 150. Have you ever thought you were going to see that big 150 staring you in the face?
I know. Here we are.
That's a lot of episodes, man.
The grind.
The grind, yes, indeed. Also, go over to, they have a Ko-fi page, and Dale can tell you more about that, where they upload exclusive episodes of their podcast. Yeah,
so, ko-fi.com, and it's kind of like Patreon, where, if you wanted to tip us, you could tip us. There's absolutely no obligation to do that. We're not asking for tips. We love doing what we do, but it's there. And if you gave us anything, a one-time fee, you could do it monthly if you're crazy enough to want to do that, but you could give it to us once, and then that basically unlocks secret episodes we do. We do at least one episode a month that's kind of behind that Ko-fi wall, but you can still put the RSS feed in your podcatcher so you can listen to those episodes right in the same Apple Podcasts if you want, but we do at least one a month, and we do, usually sometimes some more mainstream movies that we don't feature on the regular feed, but there's also access in our Discord. We'll do live episodes in our Discord only for the Ko-fi subscribers in our Discord, so it's a pretty neat setup, that it's kind of like a little fringe benefit. There's no expectation. We love the support that we get, and we love that people listen to us at all, so...
Yeah, and you just did. You uploaded Nighthawks from 1981, correct?
Yeah.
Starring Sylvester Stallone, Billy D. Williams, and Rutger Hauer, which is a fantastic film. And I actually have a review for that coming up too. So check on back to my channel. I just rewatched. Well, actually, I got to say something about this. I never saw it. I thought I had. I bought that Blu-ray, which is a great transfer, by the way, from Shout Factory. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, I never saw this.
Yes.
And
amazing.
I really dug it, but you'll hear more of my thoughts when I drop my video.
Oh, teasers. I can't wait to watch that one.
Got to tease it a little bit, but yeah, I thought it was really, Rutger Hauer, first American film, and he's awesome in that movie.
Yeah.
So Stallone, though. Stallone's so intense in that film. Come on, badass. Come on, badass.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah, really well done. Yeah, if you've never seen it, check out Nighthawks. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. Maybe on Tubi. I'm not sure.
I think you got to rent it.
Do you?
Yeah,
okay.
Digitally.
Tubi is the go-to sometimes, and they have a lot of awesome stuff. But yeah, if you don't have Tubi, I highly recommend downloading that. It's a free app, and they have some great content on there to partake in, especially horror-wise. There's a lot of stuff that you don't see streaming anywhere else on there.
There's so much free garbage.
Yes,
it's amazing garbage.
It's amazing garbage. Yes, we don't want to undersell it. try to oversell it yet.
Yeah, right. It's amazing.
So what have you been up to this past week? What you've had going on besides the podcast and all of that?
Yeah, besides the podcast, so a couple months ago, around Halloween, you might recognize these comics here, but around Halloween, Image Comics started releasing a limited run of Creepshow comics. Obviously, Creepshow, the one comic, is based... Creepshow the movie, right?
Yep.
Walk me through this.
George Romero,
Stephen King.
Yep.
Collabed.
Yep.
And Creepshow the comic book was born out of the movie because it was kind of like used as a prop and as a central storytelling device in the movie. So Bernie Wrightson and Stephen King did the original comic book, and it was just kind of like a one-off thing that, there was never any expectation that it was going to continue or whatever. But Image Comics, because the Shudder, the Fear streaming service, has the Creepshow limited series out.
Yeah, the one Greg Nicotero is spearheading, right?
Right. So there was a 5-issue miniseries released of Creepshow, and it's not based on the show. You don't need to have seen the show at all, but each issue contains 2 mini stories in a sort of mini creepy Creepshow format. It's just like the movie. So each issue contains 2 self-contained stories of kind of like horrific material, and there's some like big names, at least in the comic industry, that have done it. The first issue features a foreword by Greg Nicotero. Basically says comics are the reason any of this still exists, and he's thankful for that. But Chris Burnham is a big comic book writer and artist. He did a lot for Batman, but David Lapham, he does Straight Bullets, which is a long-running indie comic. Paul Dini writes a story in here, which is he's a famous. I mean, he wrote for Batman the Animated Series, Animaniacs, a ton of DC shows.
So a lot of people have been around for a while that have extensive work, and
and to be able to see them flexing on these horror stories that really they don't hold back. Think of like Tales of Halloween, or the one that I just watched with you, with the Brian Cox is in it.
Trick or Treat.
Yeah, Trick or Treat.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's like an anthology series, but it was a 5-issue limited run. And it's amazing, so I gotta recommend that if you can get it digitally on your iPad, but you can get it at the comic book store too. That's where I got mine. But the art's amazing, and I recommend checking that out for anybody who's interested in horror comics and Creepshow, namely. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Because I remember I saw, based on the original movie, they came out with a comic book in the '80s, like a compilation of some of those stories. Yeah. I actually saw it. I don't own it, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
You'll still see it around sometimes. You could buy it, pick it up somewhere. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know they did that. That's very cool. I didn't know they had that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, it just finished in January. It makes me, it makes me wonder if they leave the door open for more like that. I can't imagine that it didn't do well. In each issue, there's like 2 pages of letters, people writing in just saying, "This is amazing. Thank you.
This is a great thing you're doing, and please keep doing it."
Yeah, exactly. You can get horror comics usually in, some Image books, and there's a lot of indie books that do horror stories, but to see something with the Creepshow branding and stuff like that, it's kind of amazing for a fan.
That is cool, man.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that when they bring stuff back like that. Something that's been gone for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with them bringing the Creepshow show back, like they all did, like Greg Nicotero bringing it back on Shudder, or is it called Fear Now? Did they change the name?
No, Shudder. Shudder, yeah.
I haven't seen any episodes yet. I gotta watch that.
Yeah, neither have I. Reading the comic book is so much easier to make time for.
Yeah, I know, because you got to make time to watch the show.
Yeah.
I keep seeing the seasons for sale at Walmart or whatever. They have some of the seasons for sale. I'm like, should I buy it and watch it?
Right.
But I'll get to it eventually, because I still love the movies, but,
Yeah, exactly, and the movies are all-timers. And also, I did... so we went to go see Scream 6
Yes.
2 weeks ago, but... we've been talking about the new Evil Dead movie coming out.
Yep, Evil Dead Rise.
And I don't know if I'm still have the courage to watch it, but I was inspired to go back and start watching Ash vs. Evil Dead again. I got through the first couple episodes of the first season so far. It was fun going back.
And watching that,
yeah. And watching that. I remember when that premiered, I was just like, I can't believe this exists in any capacity. And we are lucky to have 3 seasons of it. It's amazing.
Absolutely, because after Army of Darkness, because it famously did not do that well, although Universal did not put much effort into the marketing, I thought we were never going to see another Ash. I mean, they did have some comics, and they made the video game and stuff, and they had that newer video game too that's out there. But I never thought we'd get that. And when they said they were going to do it, and Bruce was going to come back and play Ash again, and when I watched the premiere because we had Showtime, we were living in Massachusetts at the time, and I was like, Sam Raimi directing that first episode, Bruce is back. It was just amazing to have that back, and then we got 3 seasons of it. Yeah. I know hardcore fans were disappointed they canceled it, but we got 3 seasons of Evil Dead.
3, which is,
unrated pretty much, because they did a lot of crazy shit on that show.
You would have never been able to, even, it's probably good that the tone is what it was, because the stuff they got away with in the, as unrated as it was, you would have never saw that in a major movie release. So it's just like it's like a total package of, it's a gift handed to us, and we're lucky to have gotten what we got.
Yeah, you got to take what you got and call it a day.
Yeah,
we should be happy we got that much content with Bruce back.
Absolutely.
And some of those episodes, like you said, what they got away with, especially the morgue episode when his head goes up the corpse's ass.
Yeah.
My God, when I saw that for the first time, I've watched it again because I have all 3 seasons on Blu-ray. But when I saw it the first time, I'm like, no, they're not doing this. No, they're doing it. They're doing it. Like, I never thought I'd see that in a show, but yes, they did it, and I'll never forget that scene ever.
Iconic.
Yes, it's
for all the wrong reasons.
It is seared into my memories forever. If I come down with Alzheimer's, I will remember that scene for the rest of my days. That and Cannibal Holocaust, but we're not going to talk about that.
The 2 things,
Yeah, the 2 things.
What about you, Brian? Anything?
Watching some movies. I watched, the one we're going to talk about tonight, Maximum Overdrive. Watched it the other night. It's the first time I've seen the whole movie in quite a while. And you can pick that Blu-ray up on Amazon. I think they're charging $16 for it. But Walmart just came out. We were just discussing this before we went live, that Walmart is going to have an exclusive Steelbook edition.
Man.
Now, I heard some people say 4K, but I've only seen it advertised as Blu-ray. But you can correct me down below or in the chat. I don't know. I saw it was going to be Blu-ray. I don't know if it's going to be 4K. If it's 4K, it's cool, but everywhere's saying Blu-ray, but I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but
it looks good on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it does. It's a nice transfer. Yeah, they did a nice job. Vestron is knocking it out of the park with that one. They did the Waxwork ones and Warlock
and some of the. I have to assume that some of the specials on the Blu-ray were from the original DVD release, but there's some Vestron created content on the Blu-ray, which makes me think like they're not just putting out.
They're not just
movies.
Repackaging it.
Yeah, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, considering they're actually taking some care with it. Like Extreme Prejudice, Brandon, I know you love that movie. I know you're in the chat. I love that movie too. There's a long interview on there with Walter Hill.
Wow.
It goes on for over an hour, I think. I only got to watch half of it. But that, yeah, my son loves that Stay Puft. It's mine, but this is my son's playroom, but also I film all my reviews up here. We kind of share it. But yeah, my son loves Stay Puft. I have like 4 or 5 of them up here in different parts of the room. But yeah, Vestron's doing the Lord's work on some of these movies that
I gotta give him props.
Like I have the Warlock collection, and they have some special features on those, and the Waxwork one's pretty good too. They got interviews with the director, and I think Zach Gallion even is on that. It's been a while since I watched that Blu-ray, but there's some cool special features on there. So they're doing some good work. They just came out the Dentist 1 and 2, which I have not picked up yet. And they had the Silent Night, Deadly Night, I think 3, 4, and 5 on a collection disc. I think that just came out too. Somebody can tell me down below or in the chat, because I know you guys just keep an eye on those things.
Are they a Screen Factory subsidiary?
No, it's through Lionsgate.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's through Lionsgate. They're doing that stuff. Which is cool because everybody expects it's either going to be Screen Factor or Arrow Video, but you have Vestron over here doing their own thing.
It's amazing.
Doing all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I watched that. I watched Nighthawks recently, like we were talking about earlier, which, again, I thought I saw and I had not, which I should be flogged for that. Yeah, happy birthday, Michael. I know it's your birthday today, man. Happy birthday. Hope you had a great one. I hope it continues to be great.
Love you, dude.
What else did I watch this week? I think that was it for this week. But me and Dale were talking about before the stream because I knew this was good. My son just turned 11 back in December, so I knew this was coming. It's been coming for some time. And before I say what I'm going to say, I'm not judging anybody else on how they decide to parent their kids, because everybody is individually different in how they think their kid's ready to watch certain movies. So we've avoided letting my son watch horror movies or R-rated action movies up until recently, because my wife and I didn't think he was ready. And I know I've talked to you about this just when we're together by ourselves, because Dale's boys are around Troy's age, so they're all getting there in their own time frame. But he's been really asking to watch like John Wick recently, so we let him watch the first 3 John Wick movies, and we're going to take him on Sunday to see the 4th one, which I can't wait for, because it's getting amazing reviews, and I've loved the first 3, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
But then he started asking me, we're coming from soccer practice the other day, and he asked me when can he watch the original Scream movie. He wants to watch some horror films. Now, I feel hypocritical. I gotta give you some backstory. I started watching R-rated horror films when I was 6 years old. I saw Halloween 1 and 2 when I was 6 years old, and ever since then, I've been obsessed with horror and R-rated action movies. So I was very young to the party, and my son being 11, I feel hypocritical because he wants to watch. He's enthusiastic about it, and he says to me in the car, and he goes, "Well, Scream's no different than John Wick. It's just somebody killing other people." And I actually had to pause for a second because it's very astute of an 11-year-old to say that to me. It was a nice observation by him.
Right.
And I paused for a second, and I looked at him. I said, "Troy, you know what the difference is? It's the tone." And it's the best answer I could really come up with. It was tone. I thought it was a good one. And he paused for a second, and he looked at me. He goes, "Daddy, tone doesn't mean anything."
You didn't have a leg to stand on after that one.
And I'm like, I had to change the subject. So I'm like, I lost this. I have to take the knee, and we're gonna go off the field and go into the locker room after that one.
Okay.
But yeah, so he's pressuring me he wants to watch Scream 1. Now, I will not make this decision without my wife agreeing to it. So it might take some time to get her on board. But we are taking him to see John Wick 4 on Sunday when he's down the beach right now. They're coming back tomorrow. So Sunday we're gonna go see John Wick 4 with him. But yeah, I don't know. I feel hypocritical. Like I said, I saw Halloween 1 and 2 when I was 6, and I saw Nightmare on Elm Street right after that, Friday the 13th, all those right in a row. So it's just, I don't think he's ready. But I want him to be ready because I want to watch them with him. I want to share these movies with him because they're movies I love watching and I enjoy watching multiple times. But we'll get there. But I know it's something you'll have to deal with soon, too, because your boys are right around that same ballpark age.
It's exciting to know. I mean, it's exciting to know that you could maybe usher your kids into seeing this kind of stuff, you know? Like, I remember, I don't know. I mean, I'm along with you. I wasn't probably 6, but I was young. My mom would let me rent anything I wanted. And it was mostly like action movies. I didn't really get into horror until later on. But it was still like Total Recall and boobs and whatever I could get, like whatever I could see.
3 boobed aliens and lots of gore.
Yeah.
Paul Verhoeven loved his squib hits.
makes me wish I had 3 hands when I was 10.
Exactly. Well, it kickstarted puberty for a lot of us boys. When I saw that, like, ooh, is this possible?
It's exciting to think. You know, you just gotta, I guess, go with your gut, and maybe I don't know, like, you know, Scream is good in that it's not like completely awful in terms of like treatment of humans when they're dying. I don't know what to say, but like,
no, I think Scream's a good middle ground.
Right.
It's not like some of the other films that it's not Evil Dead. I think Evil Dead would be way too intense for him.
Right.
I mean, Scream can be intense, the original, but it's not nowhere near like the original Evil Dead movie.
Yes, exactly. It's like more of, you know, your nerves are kind of like wired up and bound up, but it's not like completely awful. And maybe, you know, like you probably, there's a part of you that probably like after the fact enjoyed that trauma or enjoyed that like, going through that nerve. Maybe kid needs that, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe if he hides his eyes, he hides his eyes. It's probably a good thing to think about doing. I almost wish my kids would want to ask me to watch an R-rated movie, but they can't stop watching Mr. Beast and whatever else. So, you know,
we're always bound the YouTubes. My son's a big Mr. Beast fan too, and Unspeakable. He watches them all the time. But he really got into John Wick. Like, he watched the first one, he went to watch the second one, and then last weekend we watched the third one. Like, he was like, "Daddy, I want to watch the third one." I'm like, "Okay." So we sat down and watched it.
That's awesome.
And he's like, "Well, so when are we going to see the fourth one? It comes out next weekend." I'm like, "Let me talk to your mother, and we'll get tickets and we'll go." So yeah, we'll see he's excited about seeing the fourth one, so we'll see on Sunday when we walk out how he feels about it. But
there's not that, it's tough to think about. Out of all the movies you've seen, like, there's even rated, especially in rated R movies, there's like a small subset of movies that you could show your kid with like the best intentions and not like boobs flopping all over the place and stuff like that. Like, maybe that's a movie for him to be watching somewhere else or with other people. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a...
That was the one thing me and my wife discussed, is what are ones that don't have nudity?
Right.
And John Wick doesn't, and we let him watch The Matrix. The Matrix doesn't. Actually, The Matrix is pretty tame if you watch it now. I don't know how that movie didn't get... Deliverance, Brandon, he'll never want to go in the woods again. And Burt Reynolds isn't going to come and save us. That's the problem.
Yeah, right.
I love Deliverance, but yeah, he'll never want to go in the woods again and go hiking. I'm thinking about letting him watch Speed. That's one that doesn't have any nudity in it.
Oh, that's rated R, wow.
It's rated R, and another Keanu movie. I was thinking about Commando as well, and there's only one part of that movie I ever got to worry about, is when Bill Duke and Arnold are kicking the shit out of each other, and they go into the hotel room next door, and
gratuitous
tit shot right there.
Shot,
yeah, well, you have to. This is the '80s. You have to get those in there. And as a growing up boy myself, when I saw that, I'm like, ooh, okay, this ain't so bad. So those are the two I have lined up. He actually asked me tonight, he goes, when can I watch Commando? So he's I don't know if he looked it up on YouTube and watched a trailer or a clip or whatever, but I was surprised because he hasn't mentioned it since I brought it up, and now he's like, so when can we watch Commando? I'm like, whenever you want.
Yeah, I know.
The choice is yours. You have to make time for me, apparently, because you're busy.
Exactly.
11 years old and busy. He did enjoy it, Jim. He enjoyed The Matrix, but I told Dale this. We were about an hour into the film, and I don't know when the last time you watched The Matrix, but there's big gaps with no action. And there's a lot of story, obviously, to The Matrix, and it can be a little heady, especially for an 11-year-old. And he leans over to me, oh, Chill Factor. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's another one, Kurt. That might be one. I have that on DVD. He leans over to me and he goes, Daddy, when's the R-rated stuff going to happen? And I'm like, you have to wait a little longer.
He's like, this is bullshit. I want Bush panned down.
But, and you know what, though? Watching The Matrix again, I have to say this. It's pretty tame. How that movie got an R rating, I don't really know.
It's interesting.
Watching it again, there's a lot of people getting shot and killed, but it's not gratuitous at all. I would think now Matrix might get a PG-13. I think. That's my opinion, but I could be wrong. Yeah, with Skeet Ulrich, Brandon. I saw it in a movie theater, actually, with a girl I was dating at the time. I have it on DVD. I don't even think they have it on Blu-ray yet. But, yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s in that, too, Brandon. They play, like... Do you ever see that one?
No,
with the ice cream truck?
I remember the trailer now that I think with Skeet. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was right after Scream. That was like the big movie he did after Scream.
They were going to push this Skeet Ulrich through.
Yeah.
They were going to
this is the next Johnny Depp or whatever.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, they were going to get him. You're going to keep him in the movie business and out of the Jericho movie TV series.
Yeah.
You know?
We're like, no, you're going to get A-lister, and we're not. Screw that TV stuff. We're going to stay on. The big time.
Yes, exactly.
After Scream. It's unfortunate. I like him as an actor, but yeah, he kind of fell off and went to TV.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
He did The Craft, Scream, and then Chill Factor, and then that was pretty much it for his movie career, unfortunately. Yeah, Cinemax used to play the crap out of that. I remember that. Good old Cinemax staples.
Yeah. Chill Factor.
Yes. Anything else that you have coming up?
I don't think so. I think that's it. I mean,
I know the movies. I know we talked about this last time, but there's 2 horror movies come out in April. Dale alluded to the one, Evil Dead Rise, which I'm very excited about, and Renfield.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be.
Has anybody seen the trailer for Renfield yet? Nicolas Cage playing Dracula and Nicholas Hoult playing Renfield. It looks fun.
It's really fun.
It's supposed to be very bloody, but it's definitely going for a campy, fun action tone to it.
Yeah, I think by the tone of the trailer, it seems like they know exactly what the movie they're making, and they're marketing the same way.
I read an interview with the director, and he said it's actually they're considering a direct sequel to Dracula, the original Dracula, and I'm like, huh. It is a Universal movie, and Universal did the original Dracula, but I thought that was an interesting comment by him. And Nicolas Cage is definitely there's a new trailer out and I watched it because
Mhm.
one, I'm not worried about some spoilers being spoiled for me. It's not one of those movies, and it almost looks like Nicolas Cage is trying to imitate several different Draculas. One I know we talked about last time, Christopher Lee from the Hammer days,
Yeah.
and definitely the trailer. That one shot looks like Christopher Lee almost out of the
yeah.
Hammer days. But there's a shot in the new trailer where he actually almost looks like Bela Lugosi at one point.
Wow.
It's just a moment,
Yeah.
but I definitely saw it, and it may just be me being a fanboy Homer, but it definitely looked like
Sure.
Bela Lugosi's
Wow.
Dracula just for a moment.
Yeah.
But it's all Nicolas Cage though, at the end of the day. But
Right. Yeah.
which is what you want if you're paying your $12, $13. Yeah, Cage can't do no wrong, Jim.
That's
I
right.
agree. He is the man.
Mhm.
Just go watch his performance in Face Off if you want to see a performance for the ages.
That's
I'm not joking either. I love that performance.
Yeah, he's great. He really knew the movie he was making.
Yes.
Face Off.
Yep. And then he reteamed with John Woo and made Wind Talkers. That was his next movie after that.
Wow.
I saw that in the theaters. I dragged she wasn't my wife yet, but I dragged Alicia to that movie.
Yeah, I remember going. I think I saw that. I don't know. I remember seeing that movie once.
Yeah.
Wind Talkers.
That wasn't his next movie. I'm sorry. It was a couple movies later, but yeah, that was when he did another one he reteamed with John Woo on. Well, let's get into Maximum Overdrive. I think it's time, and I'm going to do a little bit of a dramatic reading of the beginning of text of this movie. It's going to come out totally cheesy, but
the movie deserves it.
The movie deserves this because this is a special kind of movie. If you've ever seen Maximum Overdrive, yes, Gone in 60 Seconds I like that movie too, Kurt. One of those Jerry Bruckheimer movies, but Maximum Overdrive opens up, if you've ever seen it, with a text on the screen before we get into Stephen King being called an asshole by an ATM machine, which is glorious, by the way. And here it is on June 19th, 1987 at 9:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Earth passed into the extraordinarily diffuse tail of the Ram M, a rogue comet. According to astronomical calculations, the planet would remain in the tail of the comet for the next 8 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 23 seconds. I'll hand it over to you.
Wow. Maximum Overdrive. So, in the tail of this comet, the world has basically become at mercy to the machines that humans created. Machines take over, and with no sort of drive other than to kill their overlords, their masters. They just want to kill humans, and that's basically what the movie is. And what we find is a group of survivors at the Dixie Boy truck stop in Wilmington, North Carolina. They hole up and are at the mercy of a bunch of big rigs, including the Happy Toys Green Goblin truck. He's like the default leader of the gang, but we see the interactions between humans trying to survive and trucks kind of pushing them around and doing what they can to remain, remain in charge. And what we have is the story that unfolds from there. What I like is, the movie is based on like a 12-page short story
Called Trucks. Yeah, Stephen King wrote.
And what I like, but what is also maybe controversial in like the weird tiny pocket of people that need to talk about Maximum Overdrive, it's controversial. But the movie starts out with just fantastic montages of machinery of all kinds just taken back. They're just lashing out at everybody. But, what that filters eventually into is trucks.
Yes, for the most part, yeah.
Being in charge.
Yep.
And what I think is, it's a necessary evil, because when does the storytelling end? When does it like it? You need to like filter down into a streamlined plot so you could tell your story from beginning to end without having the interference of just every machine everywhere just being chaotic at all times. Yeah. Which is what the movie starts out as, which is fine. I mean, we see the death and destruction that happens.
Yes.
With these machines.
Yep.
But then, it like straightens out. Like it straightens itself out. And it's like, this is the story we're going to tell. There's everything is fucked. Everything everywhere is getting chopped to bits. because of electric steak knives and blenders and soda machines. But this is the story that Maximum Overdrive is telling.
Yes.
About the trucks.
Yep. That's good. That's correct, man. Now, Dale did a great job of giving the plot here. And plot, look, Stephen King has said, now I enjoy this movie because it is definitely B-movie glorious fun. You can't help but have a good time with this movie. Even Stephen King has said, and this is a quote by him, I would never say this, but he said it's a moron movie.
Wow.
Where you just turn your brain off,
yeah,
and have a good time.
That's true.
Now, he also admitted that he was coked out of his mind while making this film, and when you watch this film, you could pretty much tell somebody out of their mind is directing this thing, because it's crazy, especially the beginning montage.
Yeah.
And Dale did a great job with it, and I read that text at the beginning of the movie, and then it goes into Stephen King himself making a cameo, which I absolutely love that he did this, walking up to an ATM machine. Now, before he gets to the ATM machine, they show this bank, and they show people walking out, and the marquee on the bank just says, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. It just kept saying it.
Yeah.
And Stephen King walks up to this ATM machine, and it says, you're an asshole. You're an asshole. And he turns around, and the only way Stephen King can, and goes, hey, honey, this ATM's calling me an asshole. Come here, sugar buns. And then we get the credits when we have AC/DC kick on, because they did the soundtrack. Who Made Who was famously for this movie, and that waitress screams it gloriously over the top halfway through the movie. And then we see the mayhem. And we were talking about before we went on the air. And I love this montage, as Dale alluded to. They show all different kinds of machines attacking their human masters. Everything from soda machines with that baseball coach who gets it right in the head, and the kids get it. Yeah. And then that one kid, I wrote this down because I remember this when I was a kid when I saw this. The one kid gets run over by a steamroller.
I totally forgot that happens.
And I kind of forgot it too. And when I watched it happen, like, oh, that's right.
They kill a kid.
Yeah, they kill a kid right in the beginning. So, and that was unusual back then. That didn't happen all that much. Only in the real grindhouse kind of movies would they do stuff like that. Yeah. But for like this is a $10 million budget. So it was a decently budgeted film for back then when they made this. To show a kid getting run over by a steamroller was quite the chef's kiss.
I know.
But yeah, I love that opening montage, and there's a scene on the Wilmington Bridge. They filmed this in Wilmington, North Carolina, only a few short hours from where Dale and I sit right now. Yeah. And at the beginning, they show all these cars the bridge going nuts in Wilmington, and they shot it on the bridge, but we were discussing the special features, and I only bring this up now. We would have got to it later anyway, but I'm so excited to talk about it, because I didn't know until I saw the special features on that disc that the action itself was a model.
Crazy.
And you wouldn't know it by watching the film. And even though what you may think of this film, they did a fabulous job blending the model effects with real action. And I couldn't tell the difference, honestly, until I saw that footage on the interview with Dila De Laurentiis' wife. I wouldn't have thought anything other than I thought they really threw cars off that bridge down in Wilmington.
The editing, the stitching together of all the different, because there are shots on the bridge, there are shots of the miniature, and the way the camera's placed, the miniature is placed in front of the actual bridge, so it's just like a depth camera trickery with depth perception and stuff like that. And there's also, like, some of the close-ups, there's just like a steel grated platform on a hydraulic that's not anywhere near the bridge, but it shows cars sliding down. That's when you're able to have like the stunt people kind of slipping down into the bottom on the angle there. But the scene is seamless. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect to just set up the mayhem of what the hell's going on around the world.
Yeah, they do a nice job of setting up what is happening, and the text in the beginning tells you kind of why the comic going by, and all that stuff. Brandon, I saw in Precinct 13, and yes, Carpenter did have the balls to shoot that little girl, and that scene is fabulous. The way Carpenter left it in.
Yeah.
Hi, Cablasto.
Hi, Cablasto.
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Carpenter had the balls to keep that in there, and even though they want him to take it out, so that was great. And then we get to the Dixie Boy truck stop, and we're introduced to Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
Did you know who Stephen King wanted to cast in that role?
No.
The boss, Bruce Springsteen.
No way.
That's who Stephen King wanted to cast in that role. Whoa. But Dila De Laurentiis said no. and they hired Emilio because Dino produced The Dead Zone, and Martin Sheen was in that, and Emilio's his kid, so that's why they brought Emilio Estevez in.
No way.
But Stephen King really wanted to use Bruce Springsteen.
Wow, that's insane. That is insane. Where does that come from?
I know. It's just like, why? Why would you think? I don't know. But he was on a lot of coke back then, so we'll forgive him.
But Emilio at the time was 86. He's like one of the Brat Pack.
He was coming off of Breakfast Club and Pretty in Pink. He was in that, right? One of those.
He's in The Outsiders. You know what I mean? So like he's So he's ripe for bringing notoriety to that movie. I mean, Bruce Springsteen would have been the same. He would have brought something to the movie too. But it's a good get to have him. Because he's already like being slingshotted into stardom, and for him to be in this like $10 million moron movie.
That's Stephen King saying that, not us.
Yeah, I don't want to keep calling it that, but I get what he's trying to say. But yeah, it's a good get to have Emilio in the movie. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I always liked Emilio Estevez. This would be Friggin' Stakeout and Young Guns and all that kind of stuff.
And his character leans into the craziness of the movie. And I think, his like Southern North Carolinian drawl that he has in this movie like adds to the
definitely.
To the ambiance.
Yes, he definitely gave it that Southern twang of North Carolina draw. But then we also got an excellent character actor, Pat Hingle, playing Bubba, the owner of the Dixie Boy truck stop. And complete asshole, but he also has an arsenal in his basement of laws, rockets, and all kinds of fun stuff. But
that guy, I mean, that's like that. Quite honestly, might be the performance of the movie. That dude is just a scumbag to the end. From the minute you see him on screen and he's trying to get Emilio to work 9 hours for 8 hours worth of pay, and up until the very end of his life, I mean, he is just a piece of work.
I know, even when stuff's going down and crazy shit's happening everywhere, he makes these little digs at people. I'm like, what a dick. I mean, you see people are getting killed and you're in a situation you can't possibly comprehend. And you're like taking shots at people? I mean, come on, man. But he was great in the role. I mean, he definitely served the movie for what he was there for. Definitely. The other one that's most notable is Yeardley Smith. I think I'm saying her name right. She plays Connie, a newlywed. And most famous. She's been in a lot of stuff. But she voiced Lisa on The Simpsons, and I guess still to this day, because The Simpsons are still going.
Yeah.
And her husband, I got to say this, because her husband, when I was looking at, again, I had seen this movie, but it's been a long time since I watched the whole thing. The actor's name is John Short, and he plays Kurt in the movie, her new husband. I thought that was the guy who played the killer in Blood Rage at first. I had to look it up on the IMDb.
Wow.
At first, it kind of looks like him, and I'm like, is that the guy from Blood Rage? And it wasn't, but... Right. I had myself convinced for about 2 seconds until I looked it up that it was the guy from Blood Rage, but it wasn't. But
that's funny. Yeah, that's Yeardley Smith. She's in one of the special feature vignettes, and she's just a doll. She just has this great personality, and she was 21 in this movie, and she's basically doing whatever they're asking her to do for the sake of the movie because she's trying to be a movie star and she wants to rule the world. So they. They asked her to do some of these weird things with the stunts, like when they push the Cadillac into the Dixie Boy.
Oh yeah.
She's standing right in front of the car, and they asked her to stay there until the last possible second.
Yeah.
It's hard to see in the edit, but it was great. She's a great actress in this, and I don't want to say to the point of annoyance, but she just adds like this chaos to the film that's like layered on top of the chaos that's happening all around you.
Plus, she's always like, her husband is always trying to help people, and she's always screaming at him, "Don't go out there! You're gonna get yourself killed." It's like, and the other actor I got to mention. I didn't mention the love interest, Laura Harrington, who plays Brett. She's a hitchhiker who ends up at the Dixie Boy, and her and Emilio immediately have a connection because she's a runaway and she's kind of hitchhiking across the country.
Yeah,
Emilio, we find out, had some trouble. He just got out of prison for something, and he's working for dickhead Bubba, taking his shit because he has no other, But the other actor in this, and he's only in it briefly, but he's in it. He pops in and out. You'll see him in the background, but he's driving the Happy Toys truck, and that man is Frankie Faison, and he's been in a ton of films. But the one that always pops in my head when I see him is the landlord in Coming to America.
Because that's my first note here.
Yes, because when Eddie Murphy says, "Do you have anything that like when they fix up the apartment, when Marcelo Hall fixes his apartment, he goes, we gotta, and he goes, you can take my apartment, it's a real shithole. I always remember that line. And when he popped up, I'm like, oh crap, he's the landlord from Coming to America. Now I know he's been in lots of other stuff, but that's a movie that's near and dear to my heart, and I always think of him from that movie. But yeah,
he's fantastic in that movie. He's when he takes over their apartment, he's in the hot tub.
Oh yeah, they come in.
They enter with this soggy cigar.
Oh,
you know the kid who's in the arcade.
Oh yeah, that's
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, who ends up being on Mandalorian right now. Yes, Cablasto. I know the Steelbook version of this movie is going to be made to do lines of coke off of. It's endorsed by Stephen King, apparently from the '80s. He came back in time in the DeLorean, and he's going to endorse it. Yeah, Jim, I am cracking open the coal. It's been a day.
Yeah.
But I love the Dixie Boy, the truck stop. They built that specifically for the movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a truck stop. It wasn't there. They built it for the movie. But the one thing is a little bit of inside trivia between me and Dale. Dale got to visit that location, although it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
You stopped there on your way back from Wilmington last year. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. I made a sojourn on our way out of Wilmington. I said, like, I got to go. If I do anything here, I got to go see the home of the Dixie Boy truck stop.
Yes.
I get there. It's just a completely flat lot. Everything was, taken down from the movie. It was a flat lot. Before that, there was some buildings next to the lot that they rented space off of the company next door. And in the movie, those sheds have like signage over top, like storage and stuff like that. Storage and containers. That's the company that they rented leased space also off of, so they could make this Dixie Boy. But when I got there, it was a completely flat lot, but you could see, you could see everything. Some of the buildings around it are still there, but they're in the process of breaking ground for like a volunteer fire company. Right there. So no longer will be a flat lot, and it's going to be a lot harder to kind of picture where everything was and stuff.
The Dixie Boy was, the bathrooms, all that stuff, and the pumps.
But they said some of the crew said that they were during shooting. There were trucks pulling into the Dixie Boy.
They thought it was real.
They thought it was real, and they were trying to get fuel, and they had to like shoo them away. And so it's a movie set. There's no
gas here.
Yeah,
you're not going to get anything. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
guys and gals. The thing is, a lot of films. Me and Dale talk about this all the time. It's like one of the things we want to do. A lot of films have been filmed down by Wilmington. Silver Bullet. I know we did last summer. The Crow. This movie. A lot of other ones. That I'm blanking on right now. We want to go down, and just go to different locations, and we want to go drink at the bar from Halloween Kills. What's it called?
The Rusty Nail.
Rusty Nail. Like yes, we want to go have a couple drinks there, and then just go around the different spots. One day we will make that happen. Oh, thank you. Yep, the Mahoney Koozie. You brought that back from Camp Blood last Labor Day weekend. Had to bring it out tonight. I'll give the Mahoney some love. They're about to open very soon.
Yeah.
So if you're close to Pennsylvania or make the pilgrimage, they have a lot of shows set up. Check out their website. I don't get paid by them, but that's a plug because they're cool people, and we had a great time there, didn't we, Dale?
Yeah, it's amazing there. And they do a lot to curate every weekend.
Yes.
They're just curating the shit out of the weekend.
They have some cool weekends coming up. We have RoboCop 1 and 2 one night, and Terminator 1 and 2 on Saturday night. Then they have a Werewolf Weekend coming up, Memorial Day weekend. I have The Howling, American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet. I can't remember the other one. But we're going to be at Carolina Fear Fest that weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
So we can't make the pilgrimage back to the homeland, my homeland, Pennsylvania. Where's the bar from Halloween Kills? It's in Wilmington.
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yep, they shot that all in Wilmington, North Carolina, Cablasto. We will make a pilgrimage there one day, hopefully sooner rather than later. But we're hope and dreamers here.
I know, right?
When you have wife and kids, you got to pick your spots.
Yeah, you gotta like farm out your time equally. You can't just do everything all at once, because then your family gets mad at you.
Yeah, me and Dale will be gone all the time if we did everything that came across our way that we wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going, Kurt, to one of those nights in May? That's a great lineup. I would go if I could. I just can't. But
yeah.
But anyway, back to Maximum Overdrive. So once we get this conglomeration of people in this truck stop, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get out of this. Mm-hmm. But if I'm not mistaken, Brett, the girl, Laura Harrington's character, doesn't she say about maybe it was caused by the comet and we only have to make it like 7 more days? Or she does say that at one point.
She does.
To Emilio's character.
She does after their night of consummating their love.
Yes,
together.
that's right. They do that pretty fairly quickly. Yes.
Amelia, whose bedroom is this? Is it just like?
I thought it was just like a storeroom. I didn't think it was a bedroom.
Maybe there was a bed. They were laying in a bed, and along on the wall next to him, there were so many muff shots of women.
Yes,
I knew it. There was so much bush taped to that wall. I was like, "What is this like a room that they like? Maybe if truckers need to rest, or maybe it's Bubba's room in case he's like sleeping overnight. Or I don't know what it was, but they do consummate their love.
I wonder if the mechanic stayed there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like
because he was on the know about like the arsenal in the basement.
Yeah,
Emilio didn't know about it, and he worked there, but the mechanic knew all about it.
And they probably need like, if a tow truck's on duty or something like that, they probably needed somebody there.
It's probably just a room for somebody that has to work all night.
Yeah,
Be on duty. It's probably what it's for. I don't. But yeah, I know. I noticed all the pictures on the wall. I'm like, Jesus. What the hell is going on?
It's like an Emilio and Brett are, grinding it out.
I know. Right above, right around him. There's all these photos ripped out of Hustler or wherever they got the photos from.
It's a remarkable. But yeah, they right. So I mean, they gotta survive and kind of deal with bullcrap all along. One of my other favorite shots of the movie is the sub story of Deke trying to get from the Little League field.
Yes,
to
the
where
kid.
His dad works.
Yes, to see if his dad's okay, which his dad was already killed before he got there.
Was his dad the guy who meets it at the front end of that truck? Does his head blow up into a million pieces? Is that his dad?
Yeah, he's the one that got the diesel in the eyes at first, and then that's him.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Why do they have to kill the kid's dad? I mean, there's 9 people. There's 9 men in that truck stop.
I know. They set up all these different characters. They didn't have to kill the father, but they do. It's like.
That's so brutal.
It's like not only did we kill a kid with a steamroller, but we also killed this kid's dad.
I know.
And then
one of the most gruesome shots in the whole movie. I mean,
yeah.
he had like 2 gallons of blood in that dummy. Like
I know,
so much blood.
Just like explodes all over it.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus Christ.
It's fucking insane.
The effects guys had fun with that one.
The kid though, when he's riding his bike through town
and seeing all the stuff going on,
the montage of all the dead around him, just. Pizza delivery guy dead. Guy's, head in the lawnmower dead. Everybody's dead. It's chilling. It's a great shot.
Yeah, it is. I love it. And I love how when he's going down the street, like all of the sprinklers come on. And you can see them behind him. They're coming on. And he turns around and like go off before he can see them. I thought that was a nice touch. And then you see that one lady hanging out her window. I don't remember. Is it the curling irons in her killed her or something? Something like that.
Curling iron.
I guess I love the kid's story because, like, his story of trying to get to his dad. Unfortunately, King killed the father in a very gory way. But the kid was actually pretty good, and I think that was his first film. And it was pretty good in the movie.
He made a videotape audition for Silver Bullet, and he didn't
for Corey Haim's character. I'm guessing because he looked about the same age. And that was made around the same time this was made. So,
and he auditioned for Stand By Me.
Really?
For both River Phoenix and Will Wheaton's characters, like Rob Reiner.
Also, he had aspirations. Like, he was going for it at this point in his life already as a kid.
And he said that basically he got his first movie because he didn't get a part in a Sissy Spacek movie, but Sissy Spacek liked him so much that she took his info down and got him in touch with the right people.
That is so cool. And somebody would do that for the kid. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I like that story. I like that it's how it happened for him.
Mm-hmm.
I like his journey. And then he really goes through the ringer just trying to get to the Dixie Boy. I mean, because then he gets there and he can't get through that grate at first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until Emilio and Kurt go through the pipe to try to save that guy sells the Bibles. That he got hit by the truck and he went into that swamp across the road. And that's how they get the kid back to the Dixie Boy. Like, he couldn't get through, and all the trucks were circling around the building, and then finally he was able to get in, and that's when they tell him that his dad was killed.
Man,
it's like, oh my God, this kid just went through hell to get here.
And one of the lines I wrote was Hendershot telling Deke about his dad. like the most soulless, uncaring.
Well, yeah. Even Brett, the girl, turns around, and smacks him in the face, and says, "Don't you have any decency?" And like, no, this guy's a piece of shit. Obviously, like there's no switch with him. Like he's just one way, and that's it. Like he doesn't care about anybody really, but his bottom line, and he'll deliver news any way he wants. Even if he's a complete piece of shit.
Amazing piece of shit.
Yeah, I know. Telling this kid right there how his dad died. It's like, dude,
I know.
A little class here, please.
I know. And so so like they fight back a little bit because luckily they have grenade launchers in the basement of the Dixie Boy until like the Green Goblin, Happy Toys. Most famously, the head is the Green Goblin
from the Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, and Stephen King wanted
that.
He wanted Green Goblin on the front of the truck. Like they didn't come up with. They didn't say like let's put someone. He wanted a Green Goblin.
And he contacted Marvel about that. He got permission, right?
He got permission. Yeah, they had to create it and everything, but he sought out and wanted Green Goblin, and
well, it does give it more personality. It lets you know which one's in charge. Like it's the one thing that differentiates that truck from all the other ones.
It's remarkable in that sense.
Just typical tractor trailers, and that's the one. It's iconic now, but it's the one that separates it apart from the other vehicles. Besides when the army vehicle shows up with a machine gun on it, but
So he the machine gun shows up and just like basically like reasserts who is in charge.
Yeah,
knocks off a couple people very bloodily
until they decide to start filling them with gasoline.
Right. But that like it's what a deadly lame piece of like it's like a Polaris. It's like a Polaris quad with a machine gun attached to it. It's like the lamest thing ever, but hyper effective in killing people.
It is.
Gotta give them that.
I always wondered though when I remember when I was younger and I saw it, I'm like, where's the motor on this thing? But if you look at it, it looks like there's space for one, but it's like, what use in combat would this have? Like, it's just like a cart with a machine, like an M16 on it.
Right. And if there's a soldier standing on it, just shoot the guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, in theory, it's pretty cool, but why the Green Goblin could blast? Yeah. Stephen King was just obsessed with the Green Goblin. I think it's the only.
Yeah, there's no. I I sought it out and I couldn't figure it out. There's nothing on the specials on the DVDs that say why the Green Goblin. I'd like to know why too.
I'd be interested to know.
I'd like to know why in his mind he had to have the Green Goblin on the front of that truck.
To blast him, we might have to chalk that up to just lots of cocaine. Mm-hmm. Because again, Stephen King admitted that he was coked out of his gourd through the whole production and barely remembers it. Now, funny enough, before we go on with the movie, some of the crew said they don't remember the cocaine use as much as the alcohol. They said many days he'd be 10 beers deep by 10 a.m. during the shooting day.
Living the dream.
Yeah. And so Stephen King was not in the best of frame of minds during the shooting of this film. He did have a lot of creative control, but he was pretty much out of his mind on substances through the whole production. So you could see the fever dream that we got and why that was. Mm-hmm. But
so the trucks demand
refueling.
The best shit on the East Coast, practically uncut.
Yeah, as Emilio puts it. Yeah,
like
his character puts it.
This is their demand, and I get like this is the story they're telling. The trucks are in charge. This is what the trucks demand. This is where kind of like the movie kind of falls off and starts to drag for me. Only because there's only so much you can do. Yes. With a group of survivors and trucks circling a Dixie Boy, demanding to be refueled, like with their Morse code. But the absolute, they're trying to relay to us as viewers that how absolutely exhausting it is for people to pump gas all day long. Like they're falling over.
Yeah, that girl's ready to pass out.
I know,
like she's leaning against the truck, almost falling asleep.
Like they're just trying their best to prove to us
that this is the most exhausting job on the planet.
Yeah, they're like running Ninja Warrior courses.
Yes. That montage goes on too long. It goes on way too long. Yeah, right. That could have been cut down by a little bit. Because it does stop the momentum. Dead in its tracks for a little bit.
Right.
Until we get where the trucks finally. Because right after this is when they ram through the building and they escape. And their plan is to get to a boat and go to an island. That's the whole plan, kind of like Dawn of the Dead remake, the Zack Snyder one.
Yeah, right.
I didn't miss anything. Oh, one thing I do want to go back to when we were saying like the waitress when the electric meat carver attacks her. I freaking love that.
That's an amazing shot. I'm glad you brought that up. I made a note, but I was like, I guess I won't be able to talk to it now. But how like that? There's a guy in there that makes the funniest joke, and she is bleeding out. She lost a pint of blood through that cut. Like that's a deep ass cut.
Yeah.
And
what character was it though? I remember him making a comment. I'm like,
God,
what the hell are you talking about, man?
Like have a little sympathy. She's got to get to a hospital.
Yeah.
She's in trouble.
And the funny thing is, they just put like a little bandage on it. It's like there's no way, man. That cut into her arm, she'd be bleeding out.
And he's like, "What's the matter, honey? That knife gone rabid or
something?" Oh, that's something like that. Yeah.
Like unreal sympathy for any of these characters in these movies.
I don't know if you noticed though when they stomp on it, there's batteries inside of it.
Really?
You can see it briefly for a quick second. You can see batteries inside of it.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just it doesn't last long. You got to really look, or you'd miss it. I just happened to see it this time on the watch, but it's there.
Okay.
But I love that scene. Though. I love that shot. That's pretty cool the way they pulled that off, and they definitely were very. They threw the blood on that one.
Yeah, I meant to write down the effects guy's name. Gaines, I think is his last name. Somebody. But he apprenticed under Tom Savini for. Breaking news: Brandon is leaving the stream to go watch John Wick 4.
Go enjoy John Wick 4, Brandon. I'm gonna look forward to what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it myself.
That's amazing. But he, the effects guy in this movie, apprenticed under Tom Savini in Invasion USA, the movie that Tom Savini didn't remember.
Oh, the one I asked him about last year at Fear Fest.
Yeah.
When I asked him about Invasion USA. Yeah, I'm a D-bag. I told Dale, I'm like, I'm not going to ask Tom Savini about a movie that everybody else is going to ask him about, which is obviously Friday the 13th, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. I'm going to ask him about a movie that nobody typically asks him about. So there's two movies I asked him about. I asked him about Lone in the... Actually, I might have asked him more than two questions.
You might,
but
yeah.
I asked him about Lone in the Dark because he worked on that, the New Line Cinema's first produced film, horror film. And I asked him about Invasion USA. And he didn't remember working on that at first.
Yeah.
And then I was the dick to kindly give him the clues to get him there.
Yeah, you just like patted him on the
Yeah, I didn't want to call him out because who am I to call out Tom Savini? But I just kind of guided him to the light, and then he remembered. Oh yeah, Joseph Zito called me up and said I have to get my ass to wherever they were filming, and and I'm like, yes sir, yeah, you worked on that film, but
I didn't want to remind you that you worked on that.
I'm like, I don't want to remind you. I'm not the one that wants to tell you that, but I think he kind of liked that I called him out just a little bit.
I think he loved it.
Yeah.
You got to keep him honest, you know.
But that's cool though. He worked on Tom Savini on that one.
Yeah.
And he went and worked on this with Stephen King. That's cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, to wrap up the movie portion, we'll still talk about it, but they make it to the docks, and the one character who's been in the background this whole time, not doing a whole lot, but he hangs around. He stops for some dumbass reason to take the rings off of this woman who's dead.
Yeah.
Like, where do you plan on hawking these rings now that machines have taken over the earth?
Right.
And you're trying to survive, so you think, this is the time. I'm going to rob this lady, this dead lady, and I'm going to take her rings, and hopefully I can get some money for them later on. And then the Happy Toys truck shows up and runs his ass over, and I'm like, good, that guy's a dick.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, there's this total... they need one more body, to justify the end, but... It was. I was like, where are you going to spend this? Where are you going to trade this in at? To the machine pawn shop? That's like when they enslave you.
Yeah, when they're done enslaving you, they're going to give you some money for that.
Yeah,
and where are you going to spend it on what?
I know, right? So and then they hop aboard the sailboat. That doesn't.
Well, Emilio blows up the Happy Toys truck first.
Yeah, what an ignominious end for our
the big bad,
demonic big bad. Yeah.
Yeah, very unceremoniously blown up with a rocket launcher. It's a cool effect. It's a good explosion. Yeah. But it's kind of like you would expect more from the lead of the bad machines. But
right. Yeah. But he's like, what's he say? Take this motherfucker.
Yeah, take this motherfucker. Yeah. Something like that. It really exaggerated, and he just blows it up. And that's the end of, Happy Toys truck. And they get on the boat, and they go to some island. And there's some islands off of Wilmington, so I can see that. But, I think that's when they show some text about the comet passed and the trail or the tail of the comet went away.
Yeah.
Something like
Oh
that.
yeah. Right. Yeah. That was. It was such like. It was so abrupt, but I don't know how else you're gonna end the movie. You could end it just like them sailing off and assuming everything else, but there's just a wall of text saying, "Oh yeah, you know,
Yeah.
6 days later, as predicted,
Everything went back to normal.
Everything went back to normal."
And the people that went are still survivors. The survivors are still survivors.
Yeah.
Something
Right.
like that. The text reads, and that's the end of Maximum Overdrive's AC/DC. Swells up as the credits roll, and that is the end of Maximum Overdrive. Yes, couple laughs. So this was the origins of the Decepticons. It started with Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
And then the cartoons came out, although I think the cartoons predate this movie, but I'm trying to think of
they might.
when Transformers first debuted. But overall, this is just one of those cheesy, fun.
Agreed.
You can't take it too seriously, obviously.
Right.
It's just a fun movie with. I actually like the cast. I think Pat Hingle plays a good scumbag. I mean, he's been in movies forever. He's worked with Clint Eastwood all the time. He was in Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns. He's been in a ton of movies.
Yeah.
He was in Sudden Impact with Clint Eastwood, the one Dirty Harry movie. He was in The Gauntlet with Dirty Harry. Did some westerns. I mean, the man had a long and storied career. And I was telling Dale before we started is that Pat Hingle actually bought a house in Wilmington after filming this movie, and he lived there until he passed away.
Amazing.
He loved it there, and Wilmington is a cool small city. I mean, me and Dale have been there a few times.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's cool in and around that area. I mean, you're close to the beach, which is amazing.
Yeah, and the downtown of Wilmington's pretty nice, and there's a lot of cool stuff there. But yeah, it's one of those movies where it could only been made by a coked out person. They talked about remaking this. Funny enough, Stephen King's son talked about remaking this movie.
Joe Hill.
Yeah, several years ago. And it kind of just went away. So I don't know if it's ever going to happen. But this is one of those. I can see it being remade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid they'd use way too much CGI because you got to give them credit. Some of the mechanical effects in this movie are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Considering.
There was a lot of mastery of like the trucks and stuff, like wrangling all them and hiding people.
Yep. Yeah. And that lawnmower was a remote controlled lawnmower.
Wow.
And I don't know if you saw. The lawnmower, when they were doing it, the DP, I can't say his name, he's an Italian. It's an Italian name, and I'll hack it to death. And one of the effects guys told Stephen King, why don't we take the blade off? You're not going to see it in the shot anyway. And Stephen King's like, no, I want the realism of it. Now, there was no reason for this blade to be on there, because you can't see it in the shot. If you watch the movie, you can't even know if the blade's there. Well, it got too close to the camera. They had the camera up wedged on a piece of wood, and it got too close to the camera, and it hit the wood, and a splinter from the wood went in the DP's eye.
Oh my God!
He had to be rushed to the hospital, and he lost use of that eye.
Holy!
But he came back to work and finished the movie, and he worked DPing movies for 5 or 6 years after that. But he sued the production, and he got an undisclosed amount of money.
I hope it was enough.
I don't know how much he got. Like I said, I don't know how much he got, but he did sue the production because of it. But he did come back and finish the movie, so hats off to him for taking one for the team. But yeah.
That's amazing.
And the other piece of trivia, and this is going to go into rumor, folks. This is not fact. I was talking to Dale about this before we began. There's rumors, and even the one woman who was in the movie, and I'd have to research that a little bit more, has said this, but George Romero spent a lot of time on set. Him and Stephen King were good friends. They obviously co-wrote Creepshow and all that. And Romero did The Dark Half in the 90s, the Stephen King adaptation. It's been said, rumor-wise, again, this is not fact. I don't know if this is true or not, but it's interesting nonetheless that since Stephen King was so coked up and going through a lot of substance abuse at the time, that I'm trying to be polite about it. But Stephen King said, I don't remember shit about this movie, really.
And while you're saying that, like, everybody on the special features, like, it was a real family. Stephen King had his whole family there. Like were they all sequestered off and not, like, aware of what the guy was going through? You know, like, or they just... But that's just Daddy.
Yep, it's just the way Dad is right now.
Yeah.
But it's been rumored that George Romero actually directed some of the movie because Stephen King was unable to.
That's huge if true, but we
don't know that. But it's fun to pontificate about it. But it's been said that Romero did direct a large portion of it. They say what portion I don't know. Nobody's ever specified, even through rumor. But I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. And I think this was what Stephen King's directorial debut.
The only movie ever directed.
The only movie he ever directed. So he kind of like got the keys to the kingdom. There was Dino and him made what 3 or 4 of his movies before this.
Yeah, Dino did did Zone, Firestarter. That was shot in Wilmington, and then Silver Bullet and this.
Yeah, and Silver Bullet was filmed close by.
Yeah, that was Bergnaw.
Yeah.
It's not too far from Wilmington. It's like 20 miles outside of it.
Where was I going with this?
They had a relationship. I think that's where you're going. They already had an existing relationship.
Oh yeah,
because
right.
of them. They worked before on some of his projects. So.
Right. Yeah. I forgot where I was going with that. I think that's kind of the crux. But yeah. So it's his only directorial debut. But I wonder. This is just me being philosophical. But does Steven? Obviously, it's a period in his life that he wouldn't forget. But is he is he avoiding? Does he just say, "I was mostly coked up, so I don't"? Like, is that his way of not talking about the movie? And no, but this is rhetorical completely. But I just hope he's happy. I just hope Steven's happy with maybe like that. Directing this movie is in direct correlation with a bad time in his life, so we'd rather not even think about any of it. You know what I mean? Like that's where I could see my mind being is I don't want to think about that time in my life. So and therefore that movie was in that because if you're gonna get Stephen King for anything, get him for the special features in the movie. But he's actively avoiding talking about it in some certain cases, and maybe it's just there's not that much to talk about because the guy has done everything, and he's got his hands in all kinds of pots.
Just the research I did for this, he was interviewed in the early 2000s, and he said he wasn't happy with this movie. And he did say that he'd like to direct again now that he's sober.
Wow.
I don't think he hasn't disowned it or anything like that, crazy stuff like that. But I think Emilio Estevez has, though. I think he disowned the movie. I think I read that somewhere. Don't take that as fact either. I could be talking out of my ass, but I could swear I read that.
That could be a Rummel rumor.
That could be a Rummel rumor. That's right, Jim. I'll be here all week. I'm going to open up my own magazine, and you'll see it when you're checking out at Walmart or your local grocery store. No, I'm just kidding. He said he wasn't happy with it, and he always said that he doesn't remember most of the production because he was so messed up. But who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, some of his adaptations of his books haven't been the greatest either. There's been some TV miniseries that weren't the greatest either. This isn't the worst thing that's ever been made of a King book. The Mangler comes to mind. I don't like that movie. I know some people.
That's funny that you had an answer.
I had an answer. Yeah, I know. Toby Hooper directed that movie. The movie's a total dumpster fire. I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm due for a rewatch on it, but I don't remember ever liking that movie, even though Robert Englund's in it. But that's neither here nor there. We're still talking about Maximum Overdrive. I mean, there's been other adaptations that weren't that great from his stuff. And this was based on a 12-page short story that was in one of his collections.
I mean,
that was made into an hour and 38-minute movie.
Yeah.
In the 80s. I think, for what it is, it's a fun ride. Does it drag a little bit towards before the last act? Yes. Because the beginning is so crazy and fun and just a wild ride.
It's amazing.
And then even when you get to the Dixie Boy, there's still a lot of cool, fun stuff going on. And then, like you said, when it gets to the gas stuff, when the cart shows up with the machine gun on it, it kind of loses its way for a little bit.
I agree.
And then the ending is too abrupt. I think it's good. It's just like, okay, they escaped, they got to the dock, they blew it up,
survived.
and it's over.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what kind of showdown could you have had? I don't know. But
exactly right. I mean, you gotta draw the line somewhere. You decided to make a movie about that was ultimately about trucks
coming alive from a comet.
Yeah, they're too. Yeah. It's not like they're too unwieldy. You can't have a foot chase like in Nighthawks, where it's like it's a big dumb truck, chasing humans, and humans can get through ravines and ditches, and they can jump across water. They can swim.
Yeah, and trucks can't do that. So
right.
The one thing is though, it's funny though, if you notice though, the Newlyweds car and Bubba's car never turn on anybody.
Yeah,
that's one funny thing though, because the Newlyweds they're getting chased all over. Like they're like high speed chasing and trying to get to the Dixie Boy.
They're a mess.
And their car never turns on him. And I'm like, what? And then Bubba's car's sitting right out front, and it never does anything, but just sit there.
Speaking of the newlyweds, Brian, before we sign off on the movie, when they're pulling into the Dixie Boy, Yeardley Smith basically says, "Yes, I'm glad because I have to go to the bathroom," and her husband says, "Can I come watch? Can I come in and watch?"
That's right.
Like, what are we?
That's right.
Like, what is he into? What kind of stuff is he into? And does she know this? She's like, "Oh no, that's what I don't care."
Yeah, she kind of laughs it off, but he was dead serious.
Like, you're about to be plagued by this man that you are now wedded to by law, and he is going to get in some freaky shit. So you better watch out.
Yeah, because apparently he's
he is like like it's funny now, but it's only they just got out of the courthouse.
Yeah, they literally just walked out, and their car has their just married and their names on it and the cans and all that stuff.
It's about to get real.
It's like if you move in together, you're always gonna have somebody in the bathroom with you.
You're gonna have like a beady eye, like looking through
the crack in the door, like, and might be hearing something you don't want to. Yeah, it's all. The other thing I want to talk about, well, quickly, because I know we're coming to an end here shortly.
Oh no,
we still got a little bit of time.
We got time. It's our show.
Beginning of the film, on the bridge, you see that van with the AC/DC logo on it.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Random.
As we're playing Who Made Who.
Beautifully and random.
Yeah.
So Stephen King wanted AC/DC from the get-go.
Yeah, he's the one that got them because they were fans of his. And just sung on one of their songs.
Oh, cool.
Prior to this.
That's cool.
And they said yes because he wanted them in the movie, but they said no because they're not actors. But
they're like, we'll just paint a van with
But their
logo.
Who Made Who album was the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive, and I own that album. I've always loved it. But
it's an amazing song.
Yeah, and it's all over this movie. I mean,
like
whenever something's about to happen, the AC/DC kicks in, and it's glorious because I love AC/DC. But
I could never get tired of that song. I can never get tired of it. It's great.
That song's great.
It's great.
Oh, we didn't even talk about also the waitress when she runs outside when she's had enough. We made you. She's screaming at him.
Wanda June.
Yep.
And I probably scream that line once a week. So the fact that we didn't talk about it is probably
you're screaming at your kids when they're not listening. We made you.
We made them. She's trying to reason with the people she's stuck with.
Yeah.
We made them.
Yeah, we made them. And she was outside and just started screaming and after they had to pull her in before they run her over. I'm like, God bless that actress because she went for it there on that one.
Yeah. And there's much like My Bloody Valentine did for Moosehead, this movie made me want to go get some MGD. Champagne of beers.
They're drinking it. Oh yeah. Like everybody's drinking it.
Yeah.
You see the truckers sitting at the tables when they show them just kind of like.
Yeah.
They realize they're not going anywhere, and they all have like MGD on the table.
Yeah, man, it was amazing because I wanted to bring some here, but
we should have. I didn't even think of it.
It would have been great if I could have ran out and got that. But
I don't even know where you would get it. Do they even have it close there?
Yeah, you can get some.
Can you?
Yeah.
Because I know some stores don't have it. It just depends. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I love that scene with her running out and screaming at him, "We made you!"
And I love how frustrated she is because it's absolutely true.
Yeah, she's like, "This is so batshit crazy. I've had enough of this. I want to go home."
She's just having a breakdown, and like maybe it's best if she goes out on that note because she can't. There's nothing you can explain. It's just like, we made you. Yeah. What are you doing? Like, this is not how this works.
Well, you bringing up MGD makes me think, was that what Stephen King was drinking 10 by 10 in the morning? Was MGD? Like, when they had the set dressers, like, shit, we got to send somebody out and get more MGD down at the local mart.
Well, that MGD trailer that they blow up, it was full of beer, and they took all the beer out because they didn't want to blow up.
Well, you can't. Cans of beer. That's you can't do that. You get beat for stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
Especially where I come from. Kick your ass for doing stupid shit like that. The other thing I want to talk about was the trailer for this movie. They show it with Stephen King in the trailer, and they're playing the Halloween 3 music.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Yeah. They're using Carpenter's score from Halloween 3 during that trailer, and he's just looking at the camera saying, other people have adapted or something like that. Now, I'm bringing you something that's really going to scare you. And I'm like,
I know.
In hindsight, it's like, I get what they were going for. It was a good marketing tool, but
you can just see like Hollywood saying, you're going to be the guy in front of, like, we're going to make you into this thing.
Yeah.
that's like not just the guy behind the director writing the stories. Like you're going to be the new it guy on the camera. You're known for being so crazy and horrific. We're going to turn you into the total package.
Yep.
You know,
you're
that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah, like you're going to be the face of this movie because
right.
It's your story. You're directing it. Let's put you in the trailer.
Right. Like this is you unleashed. You're basically controlling all aspects of this movie to a degree, like at least to the public. You know.
Yeah.
He's directing, writing, everything. So they're just like unleashing him in front of the camera for that trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all on him.
With the Halloween 3 music.
I know. As soon as it came up, you could hear that stinger from the music from Halloween 3, and then you could hear it in the background as he's talking. I'm like...
It just made me want to listen to Halloween 3.
I know. It made me want to listen to the soundtrack.
So
I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Did they ask Carpenter if they could use it? Like, how'd they get the rights to use it? But, De Laurentiis might have had something to do with Halloween 3. I know Universal did. But he might have co-produced that movie because he co-produced Halloween 2, so he might have had something. Yeah,
right. That's what I was thinking too.
That's probably how he got to be able to use that music so easily. But
crazy.
But anyway, Maximum Overdrive. This is a fun movie. It's not a great movie. It's one of those movies you could put on, have a good time with. There's a lot of cheesy stuff in it. Yeah, they're trying to make him into Hitchcock. Yeah,
Cablasso. That's kind of true.
Yeah. I could see that. They could have. They really did think. I mean, listen to De Laurentiis' wife. They really did thought they had a shot at a hit here. Maybe releasing it in the summer wasn't the best idea. Maybe they should have held off till the fall. This might have been better off. But you never know with these things. I mean, their horror movies have hit in the summertime. We always say Halloween's the time to release them, and it's true. But there's movies that have had really big successes in the summer as well. So. You know, it's all in hindsight.
Yeah, exactly. There's no telling.
You never know what's going to hit at what time. This movie, I think, for what it is, again, I enjoy it. I'm glad I bought that Blu-ray. It's a movie I haven't seen in a very long time. Yes, Dale did disagree with you, Cablasso, so check that on your calendar. It may not happen again for a while.
Yeah, Cablasso, come on. I'm just a normal man, an innocent man.
Yeah, just an innocent man taking friendly fire. But I like the effect. Probably my favorite thing is the effects with the trucks and stuff. Obviously, there's people driving them, but they had to hide them. Just the ingenuity on display to pull off some of these things. I really appreciate that stuff. And the Dixie Boy is a set.
Beautiful.
It works great.
Yeah.
And obviously, it tricked real truckers because they were stopping by for gas. And sorry, boys, there's no tanks here, so you ain't getting shit. But
it's amazing. And they they built the Dixie Boy new. And then they had to age it all up to make it look like it's just a piece of crap,
like it's been there for a while. Yeah. And how about that shower room?
Keep it clean. Keep it nice.
They walk in. I know. They walk in. I'm looking around. I'm like, this is a shithole.
I know. I mean, I hope these truckers bring their shower shoes in that place.
I know because you're getting definitely foot fungus in that place, man. But I thought the showers were in the building, like the main building, and I'm like. Oh no, there's a separate building with the showers in it.
Yeah, man.
And they go in, I'm like, oh man, you're coming out of there with a skin lesion or something.
I know, a ringworm, something.
You haven't watched this yet, Cablasso? Come on, man. I know you haven't had time. You're busy.
Yeah, he's got a backlog of movies to get to.
Yeah,
but Maximum Overdrive is in that backlog. I know for a fact.
I know he told me he's been looking to watch it. He just hasn't gotten around to it. I think you'll enjoy it. Who's to say? Movies hit people differently. Because I know there's stuff I like that other people don't like. It's just the way it is. There's no wrong answers to these things, but
yeah, it's true. Scientific.
Sometimes even me and Dale, there's times he really loved Scream 6. I liked it, but I had problems with the third act. It just happens, man. Just how things hit you and how they Halloween Ends is another one. Some people loved it and a lot of people hated it. I'm in the middle on that one, but
right. I haven't watched it since.
You haven't watched the 4K? You have the 4K, right?
No.
Do I
have it? No, I don't think I did.
You didn't order it?
No, I didn't. I was, that was one of my...
Shame.
I was sober. I was too sober to spend money on the physical copy at the time. Now I just got to go back and get it. But now it's not Halloween time, so I'm like, I don't really need this right now.
And plus you got burned by the Halloween Kills one when there was no disc in the Steelbook. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It felt so bad for you.
How awful is that, right?
We were at his house having a movie night, and he pulled out Halloween Kills, his steelbook that he hadn't opened yet, and we were gonna watch it.
I open it in front of Brian.
Yeah, right in front of me, and it's empty.
It's completely empty.
And my mouth dropped. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they screwed you. And he was like, mother.
Yeah, I know.
I felt bad for him, and you contacted the company, but there was nothing they were going to do at that point. 'Cause
Yeah.
you had it for a while before you even opened it.
Oh yeah, did I have it for a year? I might have had it for a year.
Almost a year, yeah. I think it was almost a year.
Yeah. So like, too bad, so sad.
It's a very important lesson you can learn from his mistake. Open your physical media right away to make sure it's in there and it's intact.
Yeah.
Because you may have gotten screwed by the company.
Me opening a movie I bought before a year's out.
Yeah, and there's
Never.
no way to. Yeah, you're not gonna get shit from them at that point because
I know.
they're like, "What? When did you buy this? Back in
Yeah.
Nom times? Yeah, we ain't getting nothing now, boy. You're screwed."
It's so random. I should have bought it, but I didn't. But now, then I buy Maximum Overdrive and I buy Ip Man, for the first one. So I'm just, I gotta be in a mood to spend money. A lot of times I think about.
Well, I think I talked you into Maximum Overdrive. I was thinking I bought
You
it.
did, yeah.
And I'm like, you said, I just bought it too. I'm like,
Definitely owned it digitally too, but.
oh, did you?
Yeah. But I still had to get it, and a lot of times I'll have like the angel on my shoulder, like in my ear, like, what are you doing, you dumb asshole, for buying this? You're not going to open it. You're not going to watch it. And when you do watch it, it's going to be laying in your bed streaming because you don't have a player in there anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to go up to the attic to watch it. You're gonna
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to fall asleep halfway through and not even watch the whole thing.
Right. So, during the pandemic, I was really bad. But I don't know. Am I better? I think I'm a little better now, but still.
I've gotten better. I've cut back after Christmas because I was getting out of hand. I'm trying to keep it to more like titles I really, really want, or new titles. Something brand new when it comes out. There hasn't been nothing brand new lately, but when Scream 6 comes out, I'll buy that. And, I'm sure John Wick 4 when that comes out, I'll buy that and stuff like that. But,
yeah.
I want that Hitcher 4K. I don't know when that's dropping, but it's supposed to be coming this year.
See, I want to get that. I wanted to get the Martin 4K, but with something like Martin, am I gonna watch? I don't know. I want to own it. I love the movie, but
how often are you gonna watch it?
Exactly. It's
It's streaming on Tubi right now. I think I saw it on there.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. See,
I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi right now. So I was looking through Tubi when I watched Man's Best Friend.
Yeah, Cablasso blames the Discord for all the I blame Discord too. It's a sickness between.
Well, I know everybody's posting all the time on there, like, "Oh, I bought this one, or I have it coming."
Yeah,
and I'm looking on Amazon like an asshole. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy it," because
several people in the Bat and Spider Discord bought the Martin 4K, and it makes complete sense.
Yeah, Brandon got it, didn't he? Didn't he say he got his notification that got shipped or something?
Yeah. So it's coming, but I really love it. I mean, when we were at Fear Fest and the guy was selling the Martin vinyl.
Oh, the
German version
of the score.
Yeah. I was like, F me, like, why? Like, but
he talked himself out of it though. He's like, when am I going to play this? What it's going to sit there collecting dust, and I'm going to look at it, but that's about all I'm going to do with it.
I know, yeah. I have like, I have a cheap record player my mom bought me a few years ago from like the Finger Hut catalog or whatever. Like, I don't know, and I don't even know if it's the needle is probably scratching a record more than it is playing it. And I don't listen to records, so like I gotta refrain from that stuff, or I'm gonna be in the poorhouse. Like
you want it because it's cool, but then it's like, and realistically, what am I gonna do with it? It's just gonna sit there. And
right. Yeah,
I'm never gonna touch it. Cablasso, Man's Best Friend is an early '90s New Line Cinema film about basically a genetically altered dog that runs amok and kills a bunch of people. That's what it is. And Bob Shea has a cameo in that film as a mechanic that comes to your house to work on your car.
Wow.
Yes, he does. I have a review coming out next week about the movie. I never saw it. I remember the trailer because Lance Hendrickson's in it. Ali Sheedy's in it too. I remember the box art in a video store. I wanted to watch it. I never rented it for whatever reason. And it was on Tubi. Tubi, once again, another plug for them because they're awesome. And I watched it. And you'll have to watch the review to hear my thoughts on that. I don't want to give too much away. But it's on there if you do want to watch it.
Yeah.
It's an early '90s New Line, kind of nature run amok movie. But
Ali Sheedy.
With Ali Sheedy and Lance Hendrickson, and Lance Hendrickson's going for it. The movie's not at all serious, but Lance Hendrickson's serious in the movie, and he's glorious. So
you gotta love it when he acts his ass off.
Yeah, he's definitely acting his ass off. I don't know
He's
what
the
movie
one
he thought he was in, but he was acting his ass off in a movie that didn't really need him to give that much to it, but he went all in. So
he engineered the dog, right? Is that
yes,
when I
he
remember
did.
it?
Yeah, it's a dog that's built for It's genetically modified. It's not a robot dog, even though the cover would made you believe that.
That's right, because he has like a Terminator eye.
Half the face is like a Terminator with a Terminator eye. Yes, exactly. Because I remember that box art. The dog is not robotic at all. It's genetically altered and spliced with other animals, and that's what makes it so dangerous. But it's bred for security.
That's right.
Yeah. Ali Sheedy's character is a reporter for a local news station, and she is trying to do a story about animal testing, which Lance Hendrickson's lab is doing, and to make it short, she gets out of the lab, escapes the lab, being chased by Lance Hendrickson, a security guard, and takes the dog with her. And not too long after that, the dog starts killing people. That's pretty much the movie.
Yeah.
And they got to deal with it. So it's like Cujo on steroids.
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah. Or what is that? Wes Craven movie? A Deadly Friend? That wasn't a dog.
No, Christy Swanson. The robot girl.
Yeah, that movie, I remember.
Because she kills that one with the girl, the lady from the Goonies and Throw Mama from the Train. She throws that basketball and smashes her face in. That famous, you could see the clip all the time they play it on different things.
That's right. Man, I watched that young, and that movie got dark.
Yeah, and it wasn't meant to be that way. It was never meant to be a horror film. Wes Craven, when he shot it, it was not going to be a horror film. They made him go back and reshoot people getting killed. It was supposed to be like this tragic love story between this boy and this robot. The studio made him go back and shoot the deaths and make it a horror film. Yeah, if you ever read up on it, Wes Craven was pissed. They made him go back and switch the whole movie with his intentions on that movie.
I'm blown away.
Yeah.
Because I remember that shit was graphic. And those kids were young. They were like teens.
Yeah.
Teen friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
His intentions was not a horror film at all. That's why they said the movie's so weird, because it was never meant to be what it ended up being. That was a studio mandate, him going back and reshooting shit.
That's so weird.
Like the whole basketball blowing her head apart thing, that was all shot later, and that wasn't in the original script or anything.
Holy crap, man.
That was him just coming up with ways to kill people graphically and throw it in the movie to make it look like a horror movie.
Oh, man.
So if you ever watched Deadly Friend, it wasn't meant to be that way.
Wow. I'm pretty blown away right now.
What would you rate Maximum Overdrive out of 5 stars if you had to give it a rating?
Yeah, that's, so there's, this is one of the ones where it's like my love versus what I think the movie should be. I would probably go, because when I think of Maximum Overdrive, and when I picked it for the show, I think of the first half of the movie. I think of the first 2 acts-ish.
Deadly Friend, Cablasto. Deadly Friend, it's called. Christy Swanson's in it.
So it's tough for me to even remember that the dragging of the third act. So I struggle with. I would probably pick it. So I would pick it a 3.5 out of 5. I did 5. Brian does the 10. I did 5.
Well, for this I would do 5.
Okay.
We did it last time, so I'll keep up on it.
Because my heart wants to say 4, but I'm almost like it's 3. I think it's a 3.5 star movie.
You think that part that we talked about probably brings it down a little bit? Because I think it does stop the momentum of the film.
I think it stops it in its tracks.
Yes.
Like it pumps the brakes on that. Like it's in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like because you're still got 30 to 35, 40 minutes of.
And the movie before that had a really good pace going. So it's almost like one of those movies where if they shaved 10 minutes off of it, it would have been.
Exactly. Kiss. Right.
It would still be cheesy and over the top, but it would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It knows what it is, gets in and gets out, and it didn't have that fat on it at that point in time.
Yes.
So in that respect, and I forgot about that Dead's part because I remember you and I tried to watch it a while ago and we fell asleep. It was like the third movie, and usually third movies are a dumpster fire for us.
Yeah. Because
we drank too much beer and we're tired by then.
And it was probably, it could have been around the same time. Because,
it could have been.
There's nothing keeping us up during that third act.
Because that would be the point where you would fall asleep. Definitely, that would be what would put you to sleep if you're not, so it loses all the steam of the movie. I forgot about it until watching it the other night, and I'm like, wow, it really does stop the movie. It pumps the brakes, no pun intended, right then and there. But at the end of the day, I still had so much fun with it. The soundtrack's so fun because it's AC/DC, and I love them. And I'm not going to go quite as high as you, but I'm going to go 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I dug it.
Yeah,
I had a good time with it, and I'll revisit that Blu-ray again. I want to watch all the special features. Dale already has. I only got through one, and the one I did get through, I loved it. So I'm sure
And I gotta give the Blu-ray props for the special features on this thing. They went back and they really put in the time. And I say this, I say this as somebody who basically this is the first. I don't watch a lot of special features on DVDs, and that's probably why they stopped doing them for a lot of releases, right? But it's a gift. These things are a gift, and I spent the time of my workday today watching the special features on this thing. And that's something you don't get streaming. I mean, I know like the Apple streaming does it to a degree.
Yeah,
but
if you buy it on Apple iTunes, they give you some of the special features.
Right.
But
I don't even know if you're getting what the like this Vestron production.
Yeah, and plus on Apple, it depends what the movie. It's the bigger movie you're getting it, but a smaller movie you're probably not.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting the bear down.
And that's why physical media is better, folks. Physical media is always better.
Right.
Not only video quality, but just to have the special.
Except when I'm laying in bed and I don't have access and I don't want to go upstairs and find a movie and come back down and put it in a player that I don't have.
Well, you're right, Kurt. The Hustler photos are always worth a half a point. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely,
Kurt. Especially as an adolescent going into puberty.
So much. So much beef in that.
Oh, man. My God. Yeah, no, it's just like, is this foreshadowing? Is this...
I know.
Is this like meta? Because they're having sex and there's beaver shots all over the wall?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Is this like pre-Scream, pre-New Nightmare? What's going on here? Like,
yeah, right, exactly. This is like the early
genius. Stephen King's a genius. Not only did he's foreshadowing the sex scene that is currently going on, but
yeah, exactly.
God bless the '80s. You gotta love those movies, man.
Yeah.
3 out of 5 for me. I like the movie. I'll watch it again. It's fun. It's definitely a movie. Definitely a movie you would have a blast with watching with a bunch of friends, drinking a few beers.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. It's definitely a movie made for that. I think. Perfect for like a party with a bunch of friends that like movies, just to put it on and just have a blast with.
Right. Because that way you can get distracted by the third act, and you're off doing other things.
You go off to have a conversation with somebody about something else, and then come back at the end when they blow up the Green Goblin truck, the Toys truck, and
you just say, they blew up that truck on the boat. Okay. All right, that's good.
But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up. But that is Maximum Overdrive. If you've never seen it. Is that streaming on Tubi as well? It might be. I don't know. No, it's not. Okay.
No, it's only for purchase.
Only for purchase right now. Okay.
Purchase or rent, but you got to pay money.
Yeah, if you're interested, you can rent it on your streaming service of choice for a fee. I'm sure it's not that much, probably $2.99 or something. But I think the Blu-ray, I got it for $16. I think $16 on Amazon, $17 maybe.
Yeah.
If you're interested in physical media, as we are here, we're physical media junkies here. This gun show is for kids. Next, we're going to do another episode. I talked to Dale about this earlier. We don't know what we're going to do yet. So I'm going to throw this out there. You can make comments to what you want, and maybe we can satisfy that. But we're thinking about Fright Night 2 or Aliens or Jaws 3. One of those 3 we're going to do next time. So if you want to vote on that, just leave a comment after we stop the stream, or you can do it now. I'll be able to see the comments later anyway when this posts on my YouTube channel. And while you're at my YouTube channel, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. Yeah, Kurt, I know you will pick Aliens all day, every day, man. You've been on me on that for a while. We will get to Aliens if we don't do it next month. I promise you that. I want to get to it as well. We will definitely do it. But those are the 3 choices for next month. I'm leaning towards Fright Night 2 because I really want to talk about that sequel, and it's a movie that doesn't get talked about enough. But those are the 3 choices. So leave your comments down below what you'd like us to talk about next month. And I will let you know when we're going to make it happen, episode 3 of Horror Talk Live. And I want to thank everybody for joining us, and I hope you left your vote. Kablasta, what did you even vote? Love on a Leash.
On a Leash is his best friend adjacent movie that he's urging everybody to watch. He's got stakes in the game.
Well,
he's got a dog in that fight.
The only options are the 3 I said, Kablasta, but that could be a movie for a different time.
Right.
Sounds like a porno, Kablasta. You're not trying to get me in trouble here, are you? Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. Fright Night 2 is supposed to... I have it on Blu-ray. But yeah, they're supposed to get Jaws 3D by Jim. leaning towards that too, Jim. But I want to do Fright Night 2 so bad. But we'll see. I'm gonna calculate all your votes, and we'll see. And me and Dale are gonna confab about it. But after this, I think we make a watch the Evil Dead remake because Dale's never seen it, and if we're gonna go see Evil Dead live, we gotta get him up to speed. But I hope you're all enjoying a nice cold beverage out there, or if you're a kid, landed some cold milk. And yeah, have a good night. We'll be back soon, and take care. Thanks for hanging out.
Love you guys. See ya.
See ya.